Welcome back to the program. Joining me now is Mr. Sean Gibson. Welcome to the program, Sean.
Thank you, Angela. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. How long have you been a barber?
Going on about 20 years I've been an actual barber. However, since about 2008, I became more of a teacher. I've always been a teacher, but I actually officially became a teacher in 2008 and started disseminating information and giving classes and explaining barbering to anybody that was willing to learn and listen. So barber for about 19 years, teacher for about 6.
And I understand you're also the president of the Ontario Barber Association. Could you explain a little bit about the association?
The association's mandate, and one of the reasons we established the association was primarily to do things just like this. To be able to spread the knowledge and to be able to encourage other people about barbering in Ontario because it doesn't exist. So to make things aware. So, you know, it was very difficult to spread, find, or retrieve information about barbering in Ontario. As of 2008, we as an association made that part of our initiative and made that part of our goal to try to get this type of collaboration and this type of work out to people out there.
Okay. And how do you think, what's the importance, I'll say importance of barbers, because people know generally, most people don't take this trade as serious as we would. And especially barbering, people see barbershops sometimes as somewhere you just go to get your ear cut and people just talk and get on. So it's so important for me to ask you what you think is lacking in the barbering industry.
Angela, great question, and I'm glad that I'm the one answering it. Barbering is more than anything else, it's a culture. The culture of the barbershop is indicative to barbers all over. So the difference between a salon and a barbershop is a certain type of energy, camaraderie, community, strength that a barbershop has. Everybody knows the barber. They know where he is, who he grew up with, and so on and so forth. It's a huge umbilical cord of a community. You're going to find that barbershops, be it urban or traditional barbershops, the barbers are well known. Upon coming here, I met Tony downstairs and we went back like brothers. I said, I'm a barber too. He gave me a hug and we sat and talked for 5 minutes before I came upstairs. That culture of barbering is very important, and it's something that is very sacred in the barber sector. We've lost that, all right? Through a lot of bureaucracy and such, we've lost that. People don't respect barbering the way they did. It's something to do. It's just almost like a hobby as opposed to a job, whereas I take it very serious. And there are about 11 to 12,000 other barbers out there online in Ontario that take it just as serious.
So would you say lack of education? Because as I could notice right here, I could see this is a standard textbook of professional barber styling.
So why?
And what you think, I think is do you think lack of education?
So I don't, you know, I brought this as an example. Another part of our problem is that this used to be a great way to learn how to cut hair. If you see how things are broken down, it's very intricate. You learn a lot. You're able to walk away with a lot when you finish this course. But now, it's not like that. So they've taken barbering out altogether.
What would you like to say to, I would say, the barbering community? Because hearing you speak like this, it's even educational to me. Because I don't think lots of us take our trade as serious as you and I do. How would they get to join like an association like yours?
Well, for us, and for first and foremost, I don't like to play around. So if somebody's serious about this industry, come to us and we'll help you. We'll help get you up to speed, educate you, spread that knowledge. But first and foremost, it's got to be a political movement. As somebody that's been in the barber sector and the industry for the last 19 years, part of the skills that I've developed, I've actually run for public office before. So understanding policy, understanding politics is very necessary in being able to see and affect any change, right? If you guys realize that, it's May now? In June, I don't know, we can look back on this in a couple of years and laugh, but in June, barbers will cease to exist.
Okay.
based on what the government's initiative is. So we need a collective group of professionals moving in the right direction. This is a start in the right direction.
Okay.
Being able to acknowledge that there's a problem and being able to address the problem and gather professionals is definitely the key. So if I'm going to send any message at all, it would be to become united. Go on our website at www.thebarbercenter.ca, CENTRE. That's www.thebarbercenter.ca. Sign our petition. Get in touch with your local politician, member of parliament, or your member of provincial parliament, and give them a call, send them a message, and get online with that campaign. So in June, we'll have a trade.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is they're going to walk in and say, are you a hairstylist? And we're going to say no. So you're going to have to lock up shop. And I can't imagine that the government is going to take away jobs and livelihoods from professionals that are doing what we're doing.
Okay. One of my main concern I have as a stylist myself, do you think that the professionalism, what you think about professionalism, especially in some, I'm not going to say all, but some barber shops?
It's poor.
Yes.
It's poor. So again, to draw reference back to some of the different types, barber stylists, they don't have much of a problem because they're just on the fringe of barbering, right? So they're more in, they have their leg more in hairstyling, less in barbering, but within the title. So you have a barber stylist, they're not that bad. Urban barbers and traditional barbers, they can become ghetto, for lack of a better adjective to describe, because they go far on the opposite side. There's a new generation of barbers upon us. So Crow's Nest is a great barber shop. Fades International in Ottawa, great barber shop. There's a lot of different barber shops out there that are extremely professional, and they raise the level of barbering a lot. And
what I find too with most people, they think that they know everything.
Yeah.
And I always say you could even learn from a baby. You
Absolutely.
can learn from clients.
Absolutely.
And I find we're not doing proper analysis most time, consultation, because to us that's just something from the book. But like these days it's different. Clients are out there, they're watching TV, they're reading books, they're on the internet, and they expect the same service when they come in the barber shop or the salon. So do you have anything you want to throw out there for these ones that think they know everything?
Well, you never know everything. That's fair to say. Going into the industry, you have to be very open-minded to a lot of different things, and you have to understand that even if you're a barber that deals primarily with European hair, if you're a barber that deals primarily with African hair, you have to appreciate that people that you're not comfortable with are going to walk into your business. So if you want to raise the standard of your service, you have to do that by educating yourself. So if I'm next door to that guy that's not listening, and I'm listening, my barbershop is going to be extremely busy.
Okay.
There's about 15 barbershops in the city of Hamilton. I've taught and helped establish about 8 of those throughout my one shop. I'm not concerned about competition because my level of standard is extremely high. All right? And we have a great relationship and a great working relationship with all those other barbers because my level is high. So they raise and they look at me as the bar, and we go from there. Also, it puts the pressure on if I'm the Ontario Barber Association as well, too, right? So I got to make sure it stays high. So no matter how much we want to help them, they have to want to help themselves first.
Okay. What do you think the future holds for this great industry, the barber industry?
To be able to foster relationships like this will help build a better and stronger industry. To be able to have a good working relationship politically with our decision makers is also going to build on that. And to have open-minded discussions like we're having right now, and forums and knowledge to be able to, again, pass that knowledge back to the viewer from institutions like this is essential for growth. We're just getting started because we don't exist. So we're at the ground level. So barbers don't exist in Ontario, right? You can do something about that. Even though you can see barbershops all over the province, we do not exist in legislation. We do not exist on paper. Okay. We are hairstylists that are caught up in a quandary. It's almost like, it feels like purgatory. We're right in the middle there. So this is exciting because we're at the beginning and the genesis of something big. And thank you again for allowing this opportunity.
You also. And for all our viewers, when you go to your barber shop, you encourage, you listen, Sean spoke about the industry, and they could call to sign the petition, because coming June it's gonna, maybe you'll lose your barber or your barber shop. So we want you guys to help help us on this journey, and we could do this together. Thank you so much, Sean, for joining us. Coming up after the break, Sean will be demonstrating a faux hawk with a fade and a design technique. All this and more after the break. Joining me again is Mr. Sean Gibson from the Barber Center in Hamilton, Ontario. He's going to be demonstrating a basic faux hawk haircut with a fade.
Thanks for having me, Angela. Appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys today and show you some of the fundamentals necessary to procure a basic faux hawk. So we'll start off by looking at our clients here. So these are some of the fundamental things necessary when cutting. You're looking at your clients here. You want to give them a comb out. You're going to use a brush. Recognizing the client's hair type is essential in giving a proper haircut. This gentleman's hair is light, so it's easy to brush. I don't have to use a comb. I could use a comb, but the brushes will suffice enough. And on the top, there's this thing we call a fro. Hence the name fro hawk, or F-A-U-X, faux hawk, depending on how you want to look at it. To comb out the hair properly, we use a pick, afro pick. Starting at the base of the client's hair, you pull out and up towards the ceiling. To pull the hair out properly, making sure you get the whole thing. Why is it necessary to comb before you cut? It's necessary because you got to see what you're working with, and you have to have a better appreciation for the customer's hair type. The second thing we're going to do is move towards draping.
Okay.
Right? So whereas you would, in the hairstyle capacity, wrap him with a towel, we as barbers should wrap them with a neck strip. So the neck strip of choice that I use now, today what I'll be providing with you is the things that we use as professionals.
Okay.
That you should look for if you're going to go take your son or your cousin or your uncle to a barber shop. These are some of the things that you should look for. Speaking again to etiquette. Okay. And conformity throughout the barber sector. So what you want to do is make sure that you wrap this around Akeem's neck to protect him from any bacteria, pathogens, or germs that could be passed on from the cape from individual to individual. Okay, so these stick, they're called neck strips. So for the neck strip, it comes on both sides where it's blue on both sides, and these are the sticky areas. The material also has a sense of elasticity to it. So regardless of the client's neck, it'll stretch around far enough to reach anybody's size. Now these are also perforated. So it's perforated here in the middle. So everyone is actually, it's almost like tissue paper or toilet paper. And it cuts off. And again, because of the elasticity, it will wrap. We have blue side to blue side on the opposite side. It will wrap around Akeem's neck, tight enough to hold it, but not too tight to choke him, right? And when finally stuck from the blue side to blue side, you notice that it'll stick and it'll hold, okay? This is allowing no hair to go down his neck once the cape is put on, regardless of the type of cape that you're going to use. Now again, this is the first barrier that you're going to use for your customer. In some of the urban shops, you're going to find guys who are just going to switch from cape to cape. Okay. Now, if somebody's working a long day and they're working at the office, or if somebody's working at a construction and they come and they sit down and they're all sweaty, you don't want that cape touching your cape. Okay? That cape touching your neck, sorry.
You want to show the back of the neck strip?
Yep. Nice and tight there, fasten. You got them? Okay, so again, sorry, you don't want this cape touching the next customer. So this is what it protects it from. Okay? This is a revolutionary cape, actually, Angela. I'm glad I'm having the opportunity to show you. I got this from one of our colleagues online. It's called the Coloca cape. Now, what makes this cape special? One, the red dot in here goes in the middle of the neck. Kareem's right at his Adam's apple when he actually gets one. That's where it'll be. So it's going to go right at his neck. And this is actually a magnetic cape. So this cape, it drapes long enough, it covers the customer, right? Very comfortable, and protects everything, and it's clean. So now we're ready to start the haircut. We've combed it out, we've draped our clients, and we know what tools we're using. With the #1 guide placed on, the Andis Envy, I'm going to have it on the lowest extension to make my first line. Now going against the grain is where I want to go initially. Make sure I go against the grain. With the grain and against the grain, terminology that's commonly used in a barbershop. Against the grain means you're going against the direction in which the hair is growing, okay? So I'm going to brush it out first. And I'm using my hand here just to stretch the skin just a tad, going against the grain. So after every cut, I'm brushing it down. So now what we want to do is make that first line going against the grain, applying a little bit of pressure, but constantly brushing after we cut. Now why are we brushing? We're brushing specifically to brush the already cut here out of the way. But as I can see, as I'm starting to get into this, this line here, I can see we can go shorter than this, okay? Because I'm not cutting off a great deal of hair. So what I want to do is remove the guide. Now it was on the lowest extension. What I want to do is have it and extend it to the highest extension, and then continue in the same direction as I was doing earlier. So I'm going to continue to brush again. So as you can see, we're going around Keem's hair against the grain, and I'm making this first line.
Why is it important to go against the grain and not with the grain?
Very good question, Ange. Going against the grain takes the hair off. Going with the grain blends the hair in.
Okay.
Now that's a, you know, it's all subjective, because when you're dealing with different hair types, the rules change. So if I'm dealing with somebody with European hair or Asian hair, it's not applicable, because their hair doesn't behave the way African hair does. So now we've seen here, we can actually, it's very discernible that the line goes from the front to the back. You can see a difference between where the hair's been cut and where it's not been cut. So this is our first step of where the fade begins. I think this is a fade. I'm almost positive that's a fade. Notice the hawk part I haven't actually touched at all, right? That's not necessary quite as yet. But now we're going to look at actually taking the faux hawk down a little bit, trimming it up, and then we're going to move on to the outline. Now that we've finished the actual fade, we're going to move on to the fro part of the fro hawk or the faux hawk. We're going to comb out the hair properly, and I'm going to use my Filipino scissors and get in there. Now the Filipino scissors are, one, intimidating, but two, extremely good for these haircuts because it covers so much real estate on the head. As opposed to the smaller hairdressing clippers, these are able to really do the work here, and extremely quick, fast, and precise. A little heavier, a lot heavier than your standard size clippers. These are 10-inch. But as you can see, Angela, this is just kind of mowing through the entire hair and just cleaning him up proper. Now, Akeem, do you want it really short, or
No, you don't want it too
you don't want it too short, right?
You want it short?
No? Okay. So when I'm cutting, I'm using right here as the majority of, this is where I'm going to do the most of my cutting work. Not here at the tip, but right in the midst, in the center here.
I think that length is good.
That's good, yeah. That looks pretty decent there.
Okay. So you have a shape to your...
Okay, shaped up pretty good. So we're always combing. You're always sculpting and combing when you're dealing with a fro. Starting at the base, I know it sounds kind of crazy to explain how to comb the hair, but it's very essential that you know how to comb the hair, starting at the base and working your way to the top of the ceiling. Some people do this, especially if they've never touched or cut black hair before, because they don't want to hurt the hair. You got to start at the base and pull it out, right? That doesn't hurt, does it, Akeem? No. Okay, so that's, you want to comb it out thoroughly, and when you cut it, you got to comb it out again to see where it's at and how it is. It's almost like sculpting a snowman. You know, you just want to shape and sculpt it out, right? Okay. So after this, we want to then start outlining after we're comfortable and we're happy with the style. Now, when you're cutting hair in general, you always want to face the mirror. So being that the camera here is the mirror, you want to face the mirror and use the mirror as a guide to see exactly where the head is, how it's balanced and how it's set up. Because when you view the mirror, having the mirror in front of you acts like a mirror, right? But you're seeing what your customer's seeing. Okay. It's very bad etiquette almost to sit and look, because your eyes always lie to you. If you look into the mirror, you see what your client
Look in the mirror.
And what I'm seeing, we're seeing the exact same thing, and we can rectify. Okay, this side's a little higher out there. Okay, perfect. Right, that's how you procure a proper cut on either side. Okay, and make sure everything's balanced. Always check reference with your mirror. Don't look at it just eyeballing it on your own. Always use the mirror as your sort. There you go.
Nice boy.
And it all.
Very nice boy. Could I use my face brush?
Please, thank you, Angela. There you go. Outstanding. Now, one of the things that are a pet peeve that I've heard from clients is that they hate when barbers are on the telephone while they're cutting their hair. What do you think about that, Ann?
I would think it all depends on the conversation. If it's an emergency, you have to take. It's okay.
Now, if you're in Manhattan trying to get a haircut at lunch and you're a lawyer on his lunch break, and you come in and you sit down and then one of the barbers starts talking about his baby mama's drama on the telephone, do you think that would be appropriate?
Not acceptable.
If you're downtown at Keelan Shepherd in the hood trying to get some KFC and go to lunch, do you think that conversation would be acceptable?
No.
Neither way it's acceptable, right? So, I mean, there are certain etiquette that we need to have as professionals.
Yes.
And on the flip side, we as barbers absolutely hate when customers pull out their phone, it's like, hold on. And then they send a text or, talk to their mom. So it goes tit for tat, right? It's both ways. So there's a certain type of decorum that we need to have as professionals on either side. And we're hoping that the customers have that same type of decorum and the respect as well, too. Okay? So, Akeem, I think we're ready to move towards our outline. So, Akeem, I think we're finished now, and we're about to tie up the haircut. So there's a couple more things. Are you comfortable with the cut? Does it look good? Yeah. Good job. Thanks. You're so willing. Okay, so we're going to put some alcohol on, but before we do that, there's still hair, debris on his face. The best way to take that off is with our talcum powder. Okay? This talcum powder, just put on his face brush, please. Right? There we go. And you want to dust off his face where you can see all the fine hair, right? So what the powder does is helps loosen the hair that's sticking to his face, takes it off, and it smells really good, actually. Does it smell good?
Yes.
It's good stuff. It's very barber-ish, barbershop-ish, isn't it? Good stuff. So that's what the talcum powder is for, and that's what we use it for. There's a product out there. It's one of the products that we use, especially for television and movie and film, called Royal Black. Now you can see his outline somewhat. The Royal Black allows me to just go to the corner here, right, and helps bring out that outline. Wow. A little more, right? Very big in the U.S., very big in the States, right? But again, it's more for television, more for movies, and it shows up really well on the camera, as you'll see. Right? Just brings it up. It's a little something. You ain't seeing that on this side of the board, I'm sure. So this is from one of our friends in the States, one of our affiliates called Royal Black. It's a chromatic spray. It can be used for weaves, haircuts, hairstyles, but it's really good for television. And as we close and we finish with the 70% alcohol, holding it a little bit past arm's length and spraying the back of the client's neck and the front. Okay, and if you shave, you spray. You're going to spray on here, under here as well. If you shave, did we shave? I don't remember. No, I don't think so. So we're not spraying on the face, just on the back of the neck. Now, what this does, it acts as a last barrier to protect, and making sure that the client's leaving the chair with no bacteria, with no pathogens. Okay, so when I take it off, he can't say, well, you didn't spray down your clippers, because he saw when we initially sprayed down our clippers, and he can't say, I got it from you because my tools weren't clean or you didn't wipe off your stuff, because we sprayed him with the 70% alcohol when he was finished. At this stage, we're ready to take off the cape, right? And because we draped him so well, no hair fell in his back.
Wow.
Okay, so we're good. And then we're going to look to see if there's any hair down here that we missed upon the haircut, and there's a little bit. So I'm going to take my, do you remember what's this called? Do you remember what the name?
Outliner.
Hey, girl. All right. Okay. 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 And holding it like a remote control, start at the base, work all the way to the top. Make sure we get all that superfluous hair on the back of his neck there. Right? I take my neck and body brush. Brush them off. Welcome back to the land of the living, sir. You're good to go. And this is his haircut. Beautiful.
Beautiful haircut.
Very nice. Very nice. Angela, thank you for giving us the opportunity to come here and show it how it's properly done.
Thank you.
And Keem, you did a really good job. Thank you for being a good client. And that'll be $40, please.
Thank you so much, Sean, for joining us. And thank you for watching. And I hope you were educated as I did. Because this was a very good piece. And I was well informed and educated. To contact me, you could contact me at 416-398-1967 or at AngelaG@angelasBeautyBox.com. And to contact Sean, you could contact him at
510 Main Street East is our address, or you can call me directly at 289-244-3195. We are the Barber Center, or you can visit us online at www.thebarbercenter.ca. That's BARBERCENTRE.ca. Everybody spells it the American way, so they always get lost. So thanks, Angela, thank you for giving us the opportunity as the Ontario Barber Association to provide this information and to spread this knowledge. And it's a great forum to do so, and what you're doing is really good here.